When I reflect on my journey, one thing stands out above all else: the power of hard work and persistence. These two qualities, more than any natural talent or stroke of luck, have been the driving forces behind whatever success I've achieved. Many people dream of success, but very few understand the price you must pay to turn those dreams into reality. The truth is, success is not a one-time event or a moment of divine intervention. It is the sum of thousands of hours of effort, determination, and the unwavering belief that no matter how difficult things may get, the journey is worth it. I remember when I was building my first company, there were days when I felt like giving up. I had no money, no resources, and sometimes not even the support I needed. I was often working 100 hours a week, pushing myself to the limit. But that's exactly where the power of hard work comes in. It's about showing up every single day, even when the odds are stacked against you. It's about doing the work, not because it's easy or fun, but because you know that without it, there's no chance of success. Hard work is often misunderstood. People think that working long hours is just about putting in time, but it's so much more than that. It's about the mental and emotional strength to keep going, to continue when you feel exhausted, to stay focused when the world seems to be moving faster than you can keep up. It's about building that muscle, both in your body and in your mind, to withstand challenges, to deal with rejection, and to turn failure into an opportunity for growth. The most important thing I learned through my own experiences is that hard work is never wasted. Even when things don't go according to plan, the hours you put in, the lessons you learn, the skills you develop, the relationships you build are never in vain. Every single hour you work brings you closer to your goal, even if you don't see it right away. Persistence is the second half of this equation. Hard work is important, but persistence is what keeps you moving forward when everything else seems to be against you. It's easy to work hard when everything is going well, but persistence is what enables you to keep working when the road gets tough. There were times when I thought everything was falling apart. My business was on the verge of collapse, my team was struggling, and there seemed to be no way out. But instead of giving up, I chose to persist. I looked for solutions, I made difficult decisions, and I kept pushing forward even when it seemed like the world was telling me to stop. Persistence means not giving up when you're tired, not throwing in the towel when you face a setback. It means doing whatever it takes to find a way around obstacles, to learn from your mistakes, and to keep going even when the end goal seems far out of reach. The ability to keep moving forward despite the challenges is what ultimately leads to success. I always say that the biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't is the willingness to persist when the going gets tough. It's easy to get discouraged when things aren't going your way, but persistence is about having faith in yourself, your vision, and your ability to overcome. I often hear people talk about working smart, and yes, working smart is important, but working hard and working smart should go hand in hand. If you work smart without putting in the effort, the results will never materialize. And if you work hard without any strategy or vision, you may end up spinning your wheels and getting nowhere. But when you combine persistence with intelligent effort, that's when things start to happen. That's when you begin to see the fruits of your labor, even if it takes longer than you expected. One of the most important aspects of persistence is resilience, the ability to bounce back from failure. Every entrepreneur, every successful person faces failure. It's not a matter of if you fail, but when. But the key is not to see failure as a roadblock. Instead, it should be viewed as a lesson, a chance to grow, and an opportunity to try again, better and stronger than before. The more you persist in the face of adversity, the more you build resilience, and the stronger you become. There's a saying, the harder you work, the luckier you get. I've found this to be true. When you put in the effort, when you keep going, no matter how difficult the path becomes, doors begin to open. Opportunities that seemed impossible start to appear. And when you persist long enough, you become so skilled, so knowledgeable, and so determined that people start to recognize your potential, even when you're still working behind the scenes. You may not see the immediate rewards of your hard work, but trust me, they are coming. If you keep at it long enough, your persistence will eventually pay off. But persistence isn't just about hard work. It's also about belief. You have to believe in yourself, in your mission, and in the idea that no matter how difficult it seems, you have the strength and the will to succeed. There will be days when you doubt yourself, when you wonder if all the sacrifices are worth it, when you question your purpose. But persistence means finding that belief again and again, even when you feel like you've lost it. It means trusting that every hour, every minute of effort you put in is bringing you closer to your goal. So I want to leave you with this: success is not about the easy path or the shortcut. It's about the grind, the hustle, the relentless pursuit of your dreams. It's about working harder than anyone else. And when others give up, you keep going. It's about persistence, not just working hard, but doing so with the belief that you will succeed. So when you're working 100 hours a week, when you're exhausted, when you feel like giving up, remember this: it's not the hours that count, it's the effort, the passion, and the persistence behind them. And that, my friends, is where the true power lies. Building something from scratch is never easy. The reality of creating something from nothing is often far different from the dream you envision. When I look back at my journey, I can tell you that it was never a smooth ride. It wasn't about a simple idea that magically turned into success. It was about facing uncertainty, making countless mistakes, and pushing through obstacles that seemed insurmountable at times. It was about doing things that no one ever sees: the long hours, the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt. But most importantly, it was about having the courage and perseverance to keep going when everything seemed impossible. This is the reality of building something from scratch. When you start with nothing, you are faced with a blank slate. At first, that might sound liberating. The world is your oyster. You can shape it in any way you like. But quickly, you realize that the blank slate is not as easy to fill as it appears. There are so many moving pieces, ideas, resources, people, and opportunities that it can quickly feel overwhelming. You have to make decisions, sometimes without knowing the full outcome. You face rejection from others who don't believe in your vision, and yet you have to keep moving forward. You constantly ask yourself, how do I even begin? Building from scratch also means starting from a place of vulnerability. You might have no brand, no reputation, and no established customers. You are just another person with a dream. It is a humbling experience, and in many ways, you are your own biggest obstacle. Everyone starts at square one. The first step, often the most difficult, is admitting that you don't have all the answers. You have to learn as you go, and this learning curve can be steep. For me, there were countless moments where I felt lost or unsure of my next step. There were no easy roadmaps or guides to follow, just trial and error. And while that process can be exhausting, it is also where you discover your true potential. Building something from nothing means dealing with the fear of failure. The weight of the unknown is heavy, and you carry it every single day. People might tell you to take risks, to leap before you look, but what they don't always tell you is how lonely and frightening that leap can be. When you have nothing to fall back on, it's easy to question yourself. Should I have taken a different route? What if this doesn't work out? But the reality is that every successful entrepreneur has faced this fear and continued moving forward anyway. Fear doesn't go away, but you learn to push through it. One of the hardest truths about building something from scratch is that it never happens as quickly as you expect. You will spend countless hours building the foundation, only to realize that the structure isn't where you want it to be. For many years, it felt like we were working tirelessly without seeing much progress. There were moments when I thought, is this really going anywhere? But I had to remind myself that the beginning stages of any project are about setting up the framework for something greater. You lay the groundwork brick by brick, knowing that you might not see immediate results, but that it's necessary for long-term success. Nothing worth building happens overnight, and every step forward, no matter how small, is one closer to your end goal. Building from scratch also means dealing with the harsh reality of limited resources. When you have nothing, you have to be creative. You don't have the luxury of a large budget or a team of experts to help you. You do it yourself, learning new skills, taking on multiple roles, and doing whatever it takes to keep things going. I remember doing things I never imagined I would, handling customer service, managing finances, writing marketing copy, while still trying to find time to focus on the bigger vision. It was exhausting, but it also taught me invaluable lessons. I had to become resourceful. You have to figure out how to make the most of what you have and be willing to put in the extra effort. Those early days of resourcefulness, even when they were difficult, laid the foundation for the type of leader I would become. Then there's the constant balancing act of uncertainty. When you start with nothing, you don't have a roadmap. You make decisions on the fly with little information to guide you. But this uncertainty, as overwhelming as it might seem, is also an opportunity. It forces you to innovate, to think outside the box, and to take calculated risks. When you build something from scratch, you are constantly forging new paths. There's no right way to do it, but there's always your way. It's up to you to define what success looks like and find the path that works best for your unique vision. When we talk about success, we often focus on time, how many hours you work, how many years it takes to reach your goals, or how many steps you need to climb to get to the top. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that success is all about the number of hours you put in. And while hard work is certainly a part of the equation, the real key to success lies not in the time you spend, but in the passion you bring to what you do. Passion is what sustains you when things get tough. It's what drives you to go beyond the ordinary, and it's what enables you to push through even the most difficult challenges. Time is a limited resource, but passion is boundless. The real question isn't how many hours you work, but how much heart and soul you put into every single moment. When I first started on my journey, I didn't have the luxury of time. There were no guarantees that I would make it. I worked long hours, of course. But what kept me going wasn't the clock ticking or the pressure of deadlines. It was the passion I had for my mission. Passion is what allowed me to keep going when there was no sign of immediate success, when every door seemed to close, and when I had no choice but to keep going even though I was exhausted. Passion is like fuel. It doesn't matter how long the road is or how steep the climb, as long as you have enough fuel to keep moving forward. And that's exactly what passion does for you. It fuels you through every obstacle, every setback, and every moment of doubt. In my experience, if you focus on the time, you'll always feel like you're running out of it. The world pushes us to value time above all else, how much we can get done in a certain number of hours, how efficiently we can complete tasks, and how we measure success by how much we've accomplished within a set time frame. But when you focus on passion instead, time becomes irrelevant. It stops being about the number of hours you put in. It starts being about how deeply you care about the work you're doing. When you're truly passionate about something, time flies. You find yourself working longer, but it doesn't feel like work. The hours become secondary to the joy and excitement of what you're creating. Passion makes time an ally rather than an enemy. Passion also keeps you motivated in the face of challenges. It's easy to work hard when everything is going smoothly, but when the going gets tough, it's passion that keeps you in the game. Passion is what drives you to solve problems, to come up with creative solutions, and to keep fighting even when the outcome seems uncertain. I've faced countless challenges along my journey, financial struggles, skeptical investors, and endless obstacles that could have derailed me. But when you're driven by passion, those challenges become just part of the journey. Passion allows you to reframe difficulties as opportunities to learn, grow, and innovate. It gives you the strength to keep going when the rest of the world would have given up. What's even more important is that passion helps you to stay true to your vision. When you start with a big idea or a bold dream, there will always be people who tell you that it's impossible, that it's too risky, or that you should settle for something more conventional. But passion allows you to stay committed to your vision, even when others doubt you. It's passion that gives you the courage to take risks and to keep moving forward, even when things are uncertain. When you care deeply about something, it becomes a guiding force that helps you make decisions based not on short-term rewards, but on long-term fulfillment. It's passion that fuels you to aim higher, to push the boundaries, and to create something extraordinary, something that's worth the effort and sacrifice. On the flip side, when you focus too much on time, you start to chase after results instead of enjoying the process. If you're constantly measuring success by how much you've achieved in a certain time frame, you can lose sight of the real value of what you're doing. Success is not just about reaching a destination, it's about enjoying the journey, learning from every experience, and evolving along the way. Passion shifts the focus away from external markers of success like time, money, or recognition, and instead centers it on the internal satisfaction that comes from doing what you love. When you focus on passion, the work itself becomes its own reward. You stop chasing external validation and start valuing the experience of creation itself. Another crucial aspect of focusing on passion rather than time is that passion leads to excellence. When you're passionate about something, you pour your heart and soul into it. You don't cut corners. You take the time to get things right, to learn new skills, and to improve your craft. Time alone won't make you great at something. It's the passion you put into those hours that makes the difference. In my career, I've worked with many people who were talented, but those who stood out the most were not necessarily the ones who worked the longest hours. They were the ones who were driven by a passion for their work. They put everything they had into their craft, and that passion showed in everything they did. It's the difference between working hard and working smart, but more importantly, working with love and dedication. Of course, that doesn't mean that you can just rely on passion alone. Passion is a necessary component, but it's not the only factor that leads to success. You also need strategy, resilience, and the ability to adapt. But when passion is the driving force behind your efforts, those other qualities become easier to develop. When you're passionate about your work, you're more willing to learn, more willing to grow, and more willing to push through difficulties. Passion makes the difficult parts of the journey worthwhile because you know that it's not about the time you spend, but about the impact you're making. Ultimately, focusing on passion rather than time transforms the way you approach work. It turns your everyday tasks into meaningful steps toward achieving your vision. It makes every hour you spend feel like it's contributing to something bigger than just the clock. And when you're passionate, time isn't something to be feared, it's something to be embraced. Passion doesn't just make you more productive, it makes your work meaningful. It makes the journey fulfilling, not just the destination. So, next time you think about how many hours you need to work to succeed, remember, it's not about time, it's about passion. That's what truly drives you to reach the heights you're capable of. Learning from failure and challenges is one of the most valuable lessons in life. Failure is not something to fear or avoid, it is something to embrace and learn from. If you want to succeed, you need to be willing to face failure head on, to fail repeatedly, and to understand that it is not the end of the road, but rather a crucial part of the journey. In my own experiences, some of the most painful setbacks have ultimately led to my greatest successes, not because I avoided failure, but because I learned from it. The key is to develop the resilience and the mindset to turn failure into fuel for growth. Failure is inevitable. If you're trying to build something, whether it's a business, a personal project, or even your own self-growth, there will be setbacks. The path to success is never linear, it's full of twists and turns, challenges, and obstacles that can seem insurmountable. But it's through these struggles that you grow. The truth is, if you never fail, it probably means you're not trying hard enough. If everything you do works perfectly on the first try, you're not pushing yourself to the limits. The most successful people are often the ones who have failed the most because each failure is an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. For me, failure has been a powerful teacher. I can point to moments where everything seemed to be falling apart, and at the time I thought I would never recover. But it was precisely during those moments that I learned the most about myself, about my work, and about how to move forward. When things go wrong, you have two choices. You can either give up or you can choose to learn from the experience. The latter is the mindset that transforms failure into a stepping stone towards success. In the early days of my entrepreneurial journey, I faced countless challenges. There were many moments when I thought everything was over. I didn't have money, resources, or support from others. I remember being told by many people that my ideas wouldn't work, that I was too ambitious, or that I was wasting my time. These rejections stung, and at times it felt like the world was telling me to quit. But I didn't. I looked at each failure as an opportunity to learn and to adjust my approach. Instead of feeling defeated, I asked myself, what can I do better next time? I understood that failure wasn't a reflection of who I was, but rather an indication of what I needed to improve. Each failure brought with it valuable lessons. For example, early on, my business faced a major financial crisis. We were running out of funds, and the future of the company seemed uncertain. Instead of giving up, I took that as a lesson in financial management. I learned how to better manage cash flow, how to build better relationships with investors, and how to make difficult decisions when resources are scarce. It was a painful experience, but it taught me more about running a business than any textbook ever could. What I also realized is that failure doesn't just teach you about technical skills or practical matters, it teaches you about your own resilience. How do you handle setbacks? How do you react when things don't go as planned? Are you quick to give up, or do you find a way to keep moving forward? Failure tests your character, your ability to persist, and your willingness to keep going despite the challenges. It's easy to be motivated when everything is going well, but true strength is revealed when you face adversity. When you've been knocked down, it's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you get back up. Learning from failure also means understanding the importance of reflection. After each setback, it's essential to take a step back and assess what went wrong, what you could have done differently, and how you can improve moving forward. It's easy to blame external factors or other people for your failures, but the real growth happens when you take responsibility for your own actions and decisions. By reflecting on your mistakes and understanding the root cause of your challenges, you can avoid making the same mistakes in the future. It's this continuous process of learning and evolving that makes failure such a valuable tool for personal and professional growth. One of the most powerful aspects of failure is that it fosters creativity and innovation. When things go wrong, you are forced to think outside the box. You need to find new solutions, new ways of approaching problems, and new strategies to overcome obstacles. Failure breaks the status quo and challenges you to think differently. It's in these moments of discomfort that some of the most innovative ideas are born. If everything were easy and predictable, there would be no room for creativity or growth. Failure is often the catalyst for new thinking and new ways of doing things. It pushes you to break free from old patterns and to try something different, which is often the key to finding success. As I've learned over the years, failure is not something that should be feared, but rather something that should be welcomed. It's a necessary part of the journey to success. It's through failure that you build the resilience, the strength, and the creativity needed to overcome challenges and to